Hey my friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, I'm Melissa. It's time to start decorating for fall, and if you think it's too expensive to decorate, you are wrong. Today, I have for you 5 DIYs for fall that are under $5 each. So don't think that it costs too much to redecorate your house for the seasons. I have those solutions for you. It's also part of a collaboration, which I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. But for now, let's go ahead and get to crafting. I'm going to be using one of these tags from Dollar Tree. And I love using these things for decor, just for filler pieces, or also on a tiered tray. These would be great. But I am not gonna paint this side. I'm only gonna paint this side. And then I'm gonna use a transfer. And this is a transfer set that I got from Amazon. And I will put a link to it in the description box. But these are the pages. I've already used this one on something. But this is one page, this is another page, and this is another page. And since we're doing pumpkins, I'm gonna use this cute little sign or this cute little transfer. And yeah, so this will be cute to put on a tier tray or just as part of your decor. So to paint this side, I'm gonna use Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. If you've never used a transfer before, it comes in 2 parts. So you just want to take the back part off. Just take that off. Then you're going to lay it where you want it on your project. And I like to just go over it with my hand first, get it set in place. And then you're just going to rub over it with this transfer stick. And normally the transfer set comes with the stick in it. And you're just gonna rub over it until the transfer is set into the project. And if you ever get into a situation where the transfer did not transfer down, then you just set the vellum, the little plastic piece, back down, and it'll transfer right down, and then you just start lifting away. And once you have it all in place, you just go over it with the plastic piece until it is fully set, and then it's on there. Now I'm gonna take the Waverly Antique Wax. I'm gonna cover the beads, the back and the sides, and when I put it on the sides, it's gonna kind of come over to the front, which is good because I want it to kind of look a little aged on the front. So once I get that done, then I will go over it with a clear wax, and then this project will be done. Very, very simple. At the end of each project, I'm going to show you a little glimpse of the project, but make sure you stay till the end because I'm going to show you a final reveal of all of them. For a project that's so easy and is less than $5, these little wooden tags are perfect. I just think that they are so cute, and I really like this one. I think it turned out so pretty. This 5 under $5 collaboration is hosted by Emily at Farm Charm Chic, and the guest host this month is Cindy from Z9 Designs. The theme is pumpkin decor, which is perfect for fall, and I just want to make sure that you know to check out their links in my description box, and there will also be a link to the playlist where you can get all of the pumpkin inspiration, and all of it is $5 and less. I have this pumpkin that I don't know if I got it from Dollar Tree or Target, but I don't like the coloring of it, and it's, the paint's chipping off, but also it has this indentation on it that is just a defect. So I'm gonna spray paint this brown to cover up all the paint that's on there already, and then I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna give it a facelift. So now let me go ahead and spray paint. Okay, I'm at work right now, but I wanted to just kind of come in and let you know that for my projects, when I say something is $5 or less, when a project is $5 or less, I'm mainly talking about the main project, like the pumpkin or the wood tag or the wood plaque, the cutting board. Those are all items that can cost $5 or less, whether you're getting from the Dollar Tree, from thrifting, from somebody's garbage, whatever it is, it's less than $5. The rest of the stuff I'm using to create the projects is stuff that I already have in my stash, whether it's paint. I do factor in the transfers because I spend money on the transfers, but as many projects as I get out of the transfers, it keeps the projects under $5. So I just wanted to explain that my projects are $5 and less based on the thrifted or inexpensive items that I purchase, plus using products I already have. To cover the spot on the pumpkin that's messed up, I'm gonna use this mold. I put some baking soda in the mold to just prevent the clay from sticking. I'm gonna use the air dry clay to put it into the little frame. I press around the edges just to make sure I get off as much of the excess as possible. And then you just pop it out. Once I've got it out, I put some wood glue, and I think I put couple little dollops of hot glue on the frame, and then I set it over that little spot on the pumpkin that's messed up, and that will get this covered. Once I get it set on there, I actually didn't use the hot glue on this one, but once I get it on there, I just make sure I press around. Just because of the roundness of the pumpkin, I press it really good to make sure there's no air bubbles. But then I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color pumpkin to give it a good coat, which it's getting down to the end of the paint, so it was kind of pretty thick, so I added water, probably added a little too much water, because then doesn't really give me a very good coat, that first coat. But the second coat I do with a stippling motion. I just kind of pounce my brush, on the pumpkin to give it a good second coat. This covers it really well, but I also like the texture that it gives. Now I want something in that little frame, so I'm looking through this Redesign with Prima transfer set to decide which one I want. I love the set. I love the orange and blue together. So I'm going to use this leaf right here. I think it's a good size, and it does bring in that blue. I'm going to do this transfer the same way that I did the one in the previous project. Now I need to get this stem painted, and I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle. For the top, I'm going to make sort of a rag bow. I have several different types of ribbon that's pretty floppy, so I'm just going to stack those together. They have the right colors. I tie those strips together with some wire, and now I took a couple of leaves that don't really clash with the blue, but they kind of blend in with the orange, and I'm just going to hot glue those to the top. I kind of set them underneath that little stem part because it kind of lifts up a little bit, but that's going to hold it in place really well. Then I just take that sort of fabric strip bow and hot glue that to the top. And then I found a button in my button stash, and I think it looks really good because it has gold, but it also has a little bit of navy in it. So I'm going to hot glue that button to the top of the fabric bow. And then I will just snip off some of the ribbon because I felt like it was a little too long. So just snip off the ends of some of the ribbon in various lengths. Now to finish this off, I'm going to just turn it upside down to where the ribbon is out of the way. I'm going to give it a good coat of clear wax. Once I get the clear wax on there, I wipe it back, and then I'm going to go in with my antique wax and just lightly brush on in those grooves of the pumpkin as well as that little frame, and this project will be done. I think it turned out so cute. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. For this $5 or less craft, I'm going to make a little pumpkin plaque. And the first thing that I need to do is put some Mod Podge on just the top because I'm going to decoupage some scrapbook paper onto just this portion. So I'm just going to get this on here, and I'm going to let it dry. Because for my birthday, I had asked for a mini heat gun, or not heat gun, mini heat press. And so I got that. So I'm gonna put the Mod Podge on here and let it dry. And then I'll come back with the paper. While that's drying, I'm gonna take this pumpkin that I created from a mold in the previous, did I do it in the previous video? But anyway, I made these from a mold, and so I'm gonna color it. I'm gonna paint it with Country Chic paint in the color Peacoat, and then I'm gonna go over the high points with some gold and just kind of bring that out. So I'm gonna get that done now. I did decide that the stem needed to be a different color, so I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color moss. You know I love me some moss. The paper that I'm going to use comes from this pack, and it's something I found at Goodwill, and I got it for $2. And there was still a lot of paper left in here, so I thought I would get this, if for nothing else but to use them for tags for my vendor booth. But I am going to use this paper right here because I think this gold and white stripe is so pretty. I'm just gonna lay this up next to the wood plaque, which I got from Dollar Tree, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned, but anyway, I'm just gonna try to see about what size I need to cut this out. And then what I'm gonna do is, now that the Mod Podge is dried, I'm just gonna use parchment paper over the piece of paper, get that adhered, and then use my little finger sander to sand around the edges. And what I did, I made an executive decision because I was originally gonna stain the wood, but I thought the blue would tie in the blue pumpkin. So I decided to paint the rest of the wood the blue, and I just think the blue and gold is such a pretty combination. Next, I'm gonna top the paper with some Mod Podge and let that dry. When that's dry, I'm gonna take some wood glue, put it on the back of this pumpkin along with some hot glue, and let that dry completely. Now, I want to frame this in gold, and I have this gold painter's pen, and I'm just gonna see if it will work, see if it's enough. The only thing is, I'm not sure how it's gonna look. I'm not sure how I can make it work here. I have sort of a rub and buff, but it's not so much gold as it is more of a brassy color, and I don't want that. So if I can't make the paint pen work, then I have to work at Birds and Berries tomorrow, and there is some gold Redesign with Prima rub and buff that I will use, that I use in a project I'm going to show you in just a minute, and it works great. So I think this is going to work for around the edge, but I'm not sure if it's enough, so I don't know, we'll see. But I'm going to keep doing this, and I may see what it looks like going around this middle little kind of ledge. So anyway, we'll see. You can thrift a frame from a thrift store. This happens to be one that someone in my neighborhood was just giving away. So this is going to be an under $5 flip or craft that anybody can do. And if you can't find a frame that you want to thrift, then Dollar Tree sells great frames as well. The first thing I'm going to do is spray paint the frame brown. However, before I spray paint it, I want to get the back covered so I don't have to worry about spray painting that. Cover it with newspaper and then this blue tape. And once I got it down, I realized I didn't cover the inside portion, so I just did that with some blue tape, and that was not hard. But I'm just going to go over this with this brown spray paint, and what that's going to do is it's just going to help the paint that I use to settle in and be able to adhere better. And I did change my mind. I was originally going to do it orange, but I decided to use this moss color in the Waverly chalk paint. I just love this color green, and honestly it had really good coverage over this brown spray paint, and I only had to paint it with one coat. Now that I have the cardboard cut out to the size of the frame, I'm gonna paint it with Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, and this is going to be the base for my transfer that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to get this painted. My frame is drying, getting this painted, and then once this is dry, I can add the transfer and then put everything together. I did paint this with 2 coats of the paint just to make sure I had really good coverage. I'm using this transfer from the transfer set that I got from Amazon. Again, I'll have it linked in the description box. And as far as cost, the cost of this set I think was $11 or $12, something like that. So you get 3 pages and you can get several projects out of, you know, each page. So it still keeps this well under the $5 mark. Again, I'm just gonna do the same procedure with transferring this image onto my project. It's super easy, just lay it down, use that transfer stick to transfer it onto the project and rub it down with the plastic, and then you can move on to your next step. Now I'm going to go over this with a clear wax, and before I wipe off the clear wax, I'm going over the edges with the antique wax just to give it an aged look. I'm going to do the same thing for the frame. I'm going over it with the clear wax. Now I do wipe back the clear wax, but then I go in with the antique wax with a very, very light hand and very little of the wax on the brush, because I do want it to look aged, but I don't want it to look, too grungy. And then I'm just gonna, once the wax is dry, put everything back together, and this $5 or less project is complete, and I think it turned out really cute. This last project, I am actually just gonna kind of talk you through something, because at the store where I have my vendor booth, we had a girls' night, craft night, and we made over cutting boards. Now, you can thrift cutting boards. You may have a cutting board at your house that's just stuck in a drawer, but you can also find cutting boards sometimes at the Target dollar spot. I think I got this one for $3, and this is one that I got. It wasn't at the dollar spot, but it was $5. I think it was just in the regular houseware section. So this was a $5 one. Like I said, this one was a $3 one. Sometimes they have smaller ones that are even less. But so we did a transfer class using the Redesign with Prima transfer sets. And I chose the one that was in the blue and orange. And this is the set these are the pages that comes in that set. So you've got small pumpkins, you've got large pumpkins, you've got leaves. And this is a $16 set, but look how many projects you get out of a $16 set. I mean, I've gotten 1, 2 already, and then I used this one on the project we did in the class. So while it's $16, you break it down and you can make this cutting board into fall decor for definitely less than $5. So basically what we did was we had a cutting board. We used the antique wax, to sort of stain it, and then we used transfers, and this is what it turned out to be. And I just think it's so cute. I used that pumpkin transfer, and I've already showed you in this video how you do the transfers. This was a mold that we did from that pumpkin mold, and the mold that we used was the Redesign with Prima. And this is a mold that we kind of share as a store. So whenever I want to use it, I can just go make a clay mold from it or a resin mold. And then I had these ribbons that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just cut little snips of it, tied it together, and hot glued it to the top with a button. So you can see how pretty this is finished. And this is a project that is definitely something that you can do for less than $5. All right, it's time for the final reveal. I have finished all of these projects, and I think they all turned out so cute. It's just proof right here that you can create beautiful decor, whether it's for fall or just for your everyday decor. You can do it on a budget. These projects are all $5 or less, and I just think that they are beautiful. Let me know in the comments which one of them is your favorite, And also let me know if you have tried any of these or if you want to try any of them. I also want to make sure to thank Emily over at Farm Charm Chic, as well as Cindy over at Z9 Design, for hosting this awesome collaboration. Make sure that you go visit their channels as well as the playlist. And if you are new to my channel and you like this sort of content, I would love it if you would click that subscribe button, click the bell button so you don't miss any of my videos, and give this video a big thumbs up because it does help me out with YouTube. Today's Bible verse comes from Philippians chapter 1 verses 9 through 10, and it says, "I pray that your love will overflow more and more, and that you will keep on growing in knowledge and understanding. For I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Christ's return." I hope you have a blessed day, and if you want to see more fall craft videos, then check out the boxes you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time. Bye!